Exercise 5, creating a scenario. In this exercise, we are going to use the same base topology. Our tasks will be to first add a generator object called hydro and make sure that it injects into node 2 river and market. We will then add in the properties for the generator hydro. Following this, we will create a new scenario object called run of river. And then we will make sure to tag the hydro units property with this new scenario. To be able to compare when this hydro generator is in the system and not in the system, we will want to be able to run two models. To do this, we have a base model, and then we will create a second model. So to do this, we will copy the base model and create the base plus run of river. And when we create this base plus run of river model, we will then have to create the membership between the run of river scenario and the model. We can then execute both the models and examine the results. We would recommend pausing the video and attempting to complete these tasks, and then we will go over them together. In exercise 5, the first thing that we have to do is create our generator. So we have created our hydro generator and we have defined the properties for this generator. The next thing that we have to do is create a new scenario called run of river. To do this, we come down to the bottom left. We can right click and select new scenario. We then will fill in the scenario name. Click OK. So we have just created our new scenario object called run of river. The next thing that we have to do is make sure that the hydro generator units property is tagged with this scenario. So we go to the hydro generator units property, and then we come to the scenario field and we choose from the drop-down run of river. Next, we go to the simulation tab and we check our models. So we have a base model and we've already created a base plus run of river, which was copied from our base model. The next thing that we have to do is ensure that the base plus run of river has a membership with our scenario run of river. So our scenarios can be found in the bottom left. And to create this membership between the scenario run of river and the model base plus run of river, I'm going to drag and drop. You can now see that for the model base plus run of river, we have now created the membership with the run of river scenario because we see it in the memberships tree. Note that the model's base does not have a membership with the scenario run of river. So in this case, we are not including the hydro generator in the optimization for the base model. So now we can execute both these models and take a look at the results. The optimization has completed. I can now open the solutions by right-clicking on the model and going to Open Solution. This will open up the new tab. And the first thing that I want to check here is the fact that I did not want to include the hydro generator in this setup. So if I go to my generators, I can see that all I have is coal gen, gas gen 1, and gas gen 2. And there's no results for the hydro generator because it was not included in this optimization. Now, if I go to the next tab, which is the results for the base plus run of river, now I've gone to the next tab, which is the base plus run of river, and I can also check the same. The generators here, we now see that we have results for coal gen, gas gen 1, gas gen 2, and hydro, because hydro was considered in this optimization. To start, I want to take a look at the base results. The first thing I will do is take a look at the generators. Note here that we have 3 generators, coal gen, gas gen 1, and gas gen 2, and not the hydro generator, because the hydro generator was not included in the base optimization. First, we'll take a look to see what the generation mix is. So I will select generators, interval, period type, and generation, and I will select execute. In this example, I can see that all 3 generators are being used. I'll go to the chart format, and I can have a better picture. Next, I want to compare this with the base plus run-of-river when the hydro generator is actually being used. I've now opened up my base plus run-of-river solution, and I can see that I have 4 generators in my solutions. That's because the hydro generator has been included in this optimization. So I'm going to run the same query. In these results, I can see that the hydro generator is being used instead of gas gen 2, and also is displacing gas gen 1 in most cases. So how does this change in the generation mix impact the price compared to the run without hydro? So to compare these 2 models, we can actually use something called the comparison tool in PLEXOS. When you want to compare the results of 2 models in PLEXOS, you can use the comparison tool. To use this, we open the 2 model solutions. Then we go through the steps to create our query and execute the query. Once we have retrieved these results, we can add them to the comparison tool. This is done by going to the Home tab and selecting the models that will be compared by clicking the plus button. We could then click Compare, and this will open a new tab so that we can see the comparison. Let's take a look at this in PLEXOS now. First, we have to create or generate our output. So to start off my query, I'm going to select the regions, interval, period type, and price. And then I will select execute. So now I have generated an output for the base model. Next, I will do the same for the base plus run-of-river. Regions, interval, price, execute. Now I have created the output for the base plus run-of-river. Next, what I will do is I will add them to the comparison tool. First, I add the base result, and next I add the base plus run-of-river result. And once I have done that, the compare button becomes enabled. I select compare, and it opens in a new tab. On the left, I can see the base results. On the right, I can see the base plus run-of-river results. I can see the values, and I can also see the difference between them. I can look at this in a table format, or I could use the chart format by going to the chart tab. The chart tab allows me to then use the same chart functionality, and I can choose to make this a chart that is a line-based chart. I can also decide whether I want to add in a legend. And this legend allows me to see which line is associated with which model results. In review, scenarios are used to tag more than one set of values for any property. They can be included or excluded in model runs via the 3 main methods, including using the scenario grid, opening up the memberships pane, or dragging and dropping objects into each other. We could also create a scenario name, something like park, ignore, or disable, to exclude a property from a simulation without actually deleting the values. Just ensure that the scenario doesn't have a membership with the model before you run it.